So why am I sitting here in the car? Because it's 23 degrees out there. Why do I look so distraught? Because I got to go out. I have to. I made a plan. I got to stick to it. So I decided that if I was going to make it as a creator in the Northeast, I can't be scared off by these cold days. I have to continue to produce during these cold days. So to prove to myself that I could do that, I decided to, embark on a little project today. There's this transition I used in my last video, and it's a style where you take some still shots at different depths or distances, then you isolate them into sections, and you manipulate them with the software to give a 3D appearance. And I'll show you what it looks like here. In this example, I also gave it a kind of an illustrated look. I may not always do that, but I decided that I like that look and that I would probably use it in more videos as a transition. So I thought if I could come out today and get one transition, one epic transition, I would feel like I accomplished something. So what are we going to talk about while I'm out here in these freezing temperatures? No, not that. Greenland. Oh, it is cold. My hands are killing me. Okay, I have no idea if I'm going to be able to merge these and make them look cool in DaVinci Resolve, but we'll see. All right, we're putting in some work. I don't know what we're going to get out of this, but we're putting in some work. So let's talk about Greenland. What's going on with Greenland? What are we doing? Well, I'll tell you what, on my original Shadow Wreckardz channel where I do news commentary, I do in-depth news where I bring the receipts. But this is a vlog, and I'm shooting from the hip. I'm actually having trouble talking. My lips are freezing here. I do have a theory. You've heard me talk about the fact that Trump is not ideologically driven, okay? He just isn't. He's practical. He's a pragmatist. He doesn't hold steadfast to principles. So you have some people out there like David Icke, for instance, who says, Trump is in the global cult. He's one of them. And what we're seeing now is just another phase of the agenda. But for me, that just doesn't add up, unless this is like 4D chess. And maybe it is, I don't know. But for me, I feel like I'm seeing evidence that the global agenda as we knew it a few years ago is being challenged. Allow me to use an analogy, okay? Imagine the NFL is scripted. Okay, yeah, I know some people think it is scripted, but I don't, but that's for another story. Imagine that the NFL is scripted. Imagine that it is fixed, and the decisions are made by the executive committee led by Roger Goodell. Now, Roger Goodell, he decides Dallas Cowboys should win the Super Bowl. Okay, so we're plodding along towards that agenda result. But he's losing popularity for various reasons. Maybe the NFL's not doing so well. Like the global order isn't doing so well. And so someone else starts to gain some power. Let's say that guy's name is Jeffrey Lurie. These are not the real characters. Obviously, this is a hypothetical. He comes along and he's gaining a lot of support. He's gaining a lot of power. And he decides that he's going to challenge Goodell. But here's the thing. He is also not ideologically driven. And therefore, he's not going to try to end the fact that it's scripted. He's not going to try to fix the league or end the corruption or end the illusion or anything else. I mean, maybe he doesn't like it, but he's too practical to go in that direction. What's he going to do? He just wants to tweak the agenda to his liking. In his worldview, the Eagles should win the Super Bowl. So now we have a similar world order, a scripted world order, where the Eagles win the Super Bowl. And I think that's what we're seeing with Trump. He's not trying to take down the deep state. He's not trying to destroy the globalists. He's basically trying to make deals that put America in a better position in the New World Order. It's not just about position. The changes are more drastic than just position. We're not doing the warming thing anymore. You know what I mean? So to summarize what I'm saying at a high level, what we're seeing now with Venezuela and Greenland is Trump taking a wrecking ball to the previous version of the New World Order. The downside is those principles that some of us hold dear, like individual liberties, freedom of speech, and so on and so forth, I don't think they're as important to Trump as we would like them to be. You know, what's the tell? Like, what's the giveaway? Well, he's working closely with some of the worst globalists out there. I mean, Tony Blair. It's clear to me that we're not seeing the death of the New World Order. We're just seeing a radical change to it. But again, I'm shooting from the hip. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are you thinking about this Greenland thing? What do you think about Venezuela? What do you think about everything? Are we on the right track? Let me know. All right, as tempting as it is to stick around for this sunset, my lips aren't moving properly. I'm going to give myself an O for the old college try, and we'll see if we got anything we can work with. Now it's time to warm up. 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 Yeah, we're out. All right, I am back in the office. I wasn't able to get here that same day, and lo and behold, while I was in the middle of editing the first part of this vlog, President Trump announced that they had a framework for an agreement regarding Greenland in place. So that's great news. What exactly happened? Well, at a high level, I don't think I could say it any better than former UK Prime Minister Liz Truss.
So Europe is in a strategically weak position. It hasn't contributed enough to NATO over the years. It hasn't sorted out its own economies, and that is why they're in the position they're in. But they're still in denial. And I feel like we've been through this before, where President Trump shakes their cage, there's a commotion, and then eventually it gets to a deal that works for everyone.
Now, how does this new development impact what I was saying earlier? Well, if anything, it validates it. We're not seeing destruction, we're seeing negotiations. Trump has been weakening the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the World Trade Organization. These are all globalist entities, so that's great. But he's continuing to enable NATO, the military arm of this envisioned one world government. He's enabling the continuation of the central banking system. I mean, he's putting pressure on the Fed, but he's not threatening to end the Fed. And even if he was threatening, he probably wouldn't do it. He uses the leverage he creates to make a deal. Now, do I blame Trump for being practical? Not really. I mean, if you're too impractical, you end up like John F. Kennedy. Sure, it would be great to see some hero take these people on, but so far it doesn't look like that's happening. Nonetheless, progress is being made, and we'll see where it goes. Now, I got those images on the laptop. Let's see if I can make anything out of that bone-chilling effort. So I'm really only seeing 2 images I think I could use. Not my best effort out there in the cold, but At least we got something. So I'm going to take this one for the foreground, and I'm going to take this one for the background. All right, let's see what we can do. I'm going to pull in the foreground image into Photoshop and isolate the foreground. I just use the pen tool and outline the foreground. Okay, now I'm going to take that foreground image, the isolated foreground, and I'm going to paste it into my master image. I'm going to take that background image, paste that into my master image as well. Reposition it, resize it. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to do a little secret styling to give it that illustrated look. I won't bore you with that. And finally, I'm going to save the foreground image and the background image as separate images. I'm going to pull those images into DaVinci Resolve. That's the video editing software I use. So now once I have the images lined up, I can zoom into the image. And the key to making it look 3D is to zoom into the foreground faster than you're zooming into the background. So now you'll see as I zoom in, if you watch my left elbow, you'll see more of that building revealed. And that's the effect, pretty much. And I use that as a transition to get to another scene. And now let's put some music to it. Probably too cold for a cigar in the shed for this episode, but for another episode, I've got a plan. As for that transition, it wasn't bad. Had a cold industrial vibe. Kind of looked like morning even though I shot it in late afternoon. I wish the foreground were a little bit sharper, but under those conditions, I'll take it. Will I find a use for it somewhere down the line? Who knows, but at least I got out there and I made something. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Consider subscribing to all 3 Shadow Wreckardz channels. I'll see you soon.